Do you know whether you need a tax attorney, a CPA, or an EA? The differences can be confusing. I'm Andrew Bosserman, tax attorney and founder of Boss Tax Law. And in this short video, I'm going to explain the differences between a tax attorney, a certified public accountant, and an enrolled agent, and when you might need each of them to help you with tax issues. So first, let's start with the tax attorney. So a tax attorney has a legal background. They had to go to law school and then pass the bar exam to get certified and to become a practicing attorney. So tax attorneys are trained in the law, meaning they're best able to handle, say, legal tax arguments, representing you before the IRS, and also, attorneys are very good at drafting documents, negotiating, other similar situations. One benefit of dealing with an attorney is that you have what's known as attorney-client privilege, meaning that generally, discussions between you and your attorney are confidential and can't be brought out in court or any other proceedings. Also, attorneys are generally able to represent you in all three courts that hear tax cases. And there's differences between those three courts, but as long as an attorney is admitted to those courts, they can represent you, which is a little different than a CPA or an EA. So generally, tax attorneys are very well versed in representing you with terms to any proceedings before the IRS, but especially complex tax issues, tax appeals, and tax litigation. So the second type of professional you might be looking into is a certified public accountant or a CPA. A CPA has an accounting background. Generally, they have to have at least a bachelor's degree in accounting. Many have master's degrees. And then they have to pass the CPA exam. CPAs are much more accounting focused, meaning they're good with numbers. They're good at preparing financial statements as well as preparing tax returns. One thing to note is that they do not have attorney-client privilege like attorneys do with their clients. So discussions you have with your CPA could possibly be disclosed in court. And also, CPAs can generally not represent taxpayers before the tax court or any other courts. There is a limited exceptions. If you pass a certain exam, CPAs are eligible to represent taxpayers in tax court, but very few CPAs have that designation. So CPAs are generally best suited to things like bookkeeping, preparing financial statements, preparing complex tax returns, and also doing some tax representation work. But CPAs generally have specialties. So, a CPA who is good with taxes might not be good at tax representation, or that good at preparing financial statements might not know as much about taxes. And it's similar with attorneys as well. Some specialize in tax, but others specialize in other areas of the law. So the third type of professional is an enrolled agent or EA. And an EA, that is a designation given by the IRS. So there's no educational requirements, but you have to pass the enrolled agents exam that the IRS administers. And it gives the EA similar privileges to representing taxpayers before the IRS that tax attorneys and CPAs have. So EAs generally excel at representing taxpayers before the IRS, especially in simple matters. Some are well versed in complex matters as well. Also, some EAs are good at preparing tax returns, but they're tax focused and usually don't have as much of an accounting or a legal background as tax attorneys, but that does vary by situation. Similar to CPAs, EAs do not have attorney-client privilege with their clients, so anything you say to an EA might be disclosed in court. So just to sum it all up, tax attorneys are great at making legal arguments, tax appeals, tax litigation, complex tax issues. CPAs have more of an accounting background and are great at financial statements, tax return preparation, and some tax representation. And EAs are generally great at basic to somewhat complex tax preparation and tax representation before the IRS. Generally simple to somewhat complex, but remember, tax attorneys are generally the only ones who can litigate and the only professionals that you have attorney-client privilege with. So, for example, I'm a tax attorney, but I'm also a CPA. So I have the accounting background of a CPA, but I also went through law school and I'm able to make legal arguments. So I know a lot about this role. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the type of professional that should help you in your situation, or if you think there is any other way I can help or point you in the right direction.